If you know these 15 collocations, your English is amazing. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Let's do something fun. You'll learn these collocations by completing a quiz. You'll see a sentence on the screen with a blank, and you need to choose the correct word in 5 seconds. After, you'll learn the correct collocation, see an example sentence, and listen to natives using the collocation in real speech. Are you ready? Question 1. He promised he wouldn't lie, but he decided to. His promise. The correct answer is B. To break a promise. This means to fail to do what one has promised to do. 5 years ago, I promised to post a new English lesson every week on my YouTube channel, and I haven't broken that promise. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
If I break a promise, I have done something wrong, even if the consequences of breaking the promise are slightly better than the consequences of keeping the promise.
You break a promise with God, you're sinning.
And we'll break a promise. It doesn't really matter.
Question 2. A great handshake can leave a impression. The correct answer is A. A lasting impression. This is an effect, feeling, or memory that remains in one's mind for a long time. So hopefully, after this lesson, you might say, this lesson left a lasting impression on me, which means you remember all these new collocations, the pronunciation, and everything you've learned. Don't worry about taking notes because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF. You can find the link in the description. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
And the thing that left a long-lasting impression on me was how the people I met in South Africa could envision a better future for themselves and their country.
Now that's honesty and integrity, and it's also why Faye's performances left such a lasting impression.
A simple act of kindness can make a lasting impression and make a huge difference in a person's life.
Question 3. She has a workload this month and needs extra help. The correct answer is C, a heavy workload. I hear a lot of students say a big workload, but the correct collocation is heavy, a heavy workload. And of course, this is a large amount of work. You might say it's hard to study English because of my heavy workload. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
How does she juggle all that heavy workload and be president of the sorority?
The number one hindrance to good teaching is heavy workload.
It's definitely been a pretty heavy workload.
Question 4. After finishing the project, she finally has a workload. The correct answer is C. The opposite of heavy, which means big, is light, which means a small amount of work. So hopefully you say, now that I have a light workload, I can watch all your lessons. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
The workload was so light to do compositor-based operations compared to doing layout and paint that we can now fit it comfortably inside the 60 frames a second budget.
To lighten your workload.
Question 5. To succeed, you need to be proactive and initiative. The correct answer is A, and take initiative. If you take initiative, it means you're the first to take action to achieve a goal or to solve a problem. For example, he took initiative to find a speaking partner, and that's exactly what you need to do. There are people everywhere who want to practice speaking, but you need to take initiative to find one. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
Who are going to take initiative, not just do the minimum daily requirement.
People expect you to do things on your own here. They expect you to take initiative.
They're thinking, that person doesn't take initiative. I guess they're not really a leader.
How are you doing so far with this quiz? Question 6, the campaign started slow, but began to momentum. The correct answer is B, to gain momentum. This means to progress or move forward at an increasing pace. As my English fluency and confidence grew, I gained momentum in my career. So your success in your career increased at a faster and faster pace. That's what fluent English can help you accomplish. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
Now, as SPACs gain momentum, more blue-chip institutions and veteran investors are buying in.
Slowly but surely, we began to gain momentum.
We gained momentum by using the cupcakes for this documentary, which was one of the clips that I showed earlier.
Question 7, her speech had an impact on everyone in the room. The correct answer is C, a profound impact. This means a very significant or deep impact. You might say, my childhood teacher had a profound impact on my English skills. You still remember those important lessons from your teacher today. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
Words are that powerful. They not only affect your interior psychology and your identity, they have a profound impact on the world around you.
It's something so simple and yet has such a profound impact.
So you don't have to know someone well to have a profound impact on them.
Question 8, in order to pass the inspection, our products need to standards. The correct answer is B, to meet standards. If you meet a standard, this means you reach the expected level of quality or requirements. This is often used with products or services. All products must meet safety standards before being sold. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
How often do judges not meet standards?
And we're going to close places that don't meet standards and which are harmful to people.
They don't have to meet standards, and that is very, very dangerous.
Question 9, the proposal was accepted by a majority of the team. The correct answer is A, an overwhelming majority. This means a very large percentage or proportion. There isn't a specific number, but I would personally say it would be 75% or more to be considered an overwhelming majority. Maybe an overwhelming majority of students, 75% or more, prefer learning English online. What do you think? Let's listen to some real-world examples.
The overwhelming majority, they work really hard doing really important stuff.
And the overwhelming majority said no.
And many Nebraskans, I believe, an overwhelming majority, believe the death penalty is a part of that public safety focus, of which I firmly believe in.
Question 10, we had a discussion about the project challenges. The correct answer is C. A frank discussion is one that is open, honest, and straightforward. For example, we need to have a frank discussion about the client's expectations. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
Having frank, detailed, and honest discussions on how you'll handle joint versus solo finances will guarantee that there won't be any surprises once you're married.
And I thought it was a good and useful and frank discussion.
And so
Our focus is on having a frank discussion, raising issues where we have concerns, and of course looking for ways and places where we can work together.
You're doing a great job. Think of everything that you're learning. Let's keep going. Question 11. He decided to responsibility for his actions. The correct answer is A, to take responsibility. This is when you accept responsibility. For example, you could be frank, you could be honest and open and straightforward, to be frank, and say, I take full responsibility for the project delay. This is a very mature thing to do. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
Training Afghan forces to take responsibility for their own security.
He said, someone, you, has to take responsibility.
We must take responsibility now for our role in this crisis, a crisis in which the origins can be traced back to the onset of the Anthropocene era.
Question 12, the board will approval for the new policy next week. The correct answer is B, to grant approval. This means to officially agree to or allow something. The team needs to wait until the director grants approval. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
The Queen must grant her approval before the gown can even start being made.
He added the ministry will quickly grant approval if companies apply for an extension in working hours to expand domestic production.
Question 13. Both parties finally reached an agreement. The correct answer is A, a mutual agreement. This is one that all people involved, there could be 2 people, 5 people, or 12 people, but all people involved accept. We reached a mutual agreement to reduce the budget. Everyone agreed, yes, let's reduce the budget. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
It's a mutual agreement in a group that you will put the welfare of the group, you will put the safety of everyone in the group above your own.
And we talked about issues by mutual agreement. That practice helped me a great deal because I came to understand Ronald Reagan.
This mutual agreement between the parent and child was a really nice cooperative strategy, but somehow it just wasn't working for them.
Question 14. The project had an influence on the younger team members. The correct answer is B. A positive influence is, of course, one that leads to improvements. You might say learning English has had a positive influence on my life because it has helped you gain momentum. Remember that one, to gain momentum. Let's listen to some real-world examples.
She is a role model, a positive influence, and has a powerful ability to motivate others.
We're going to be a positive influence to everybody around us.
We're talking about being a positive influence in their communities, making a difference.
Question 15. By introducing this new feature, the company gained an advantage. The correct answer is B, competitive. The adjective form. A competitive advantage is something that allows someone, a person, or even a company, a team, to outperform, to perform better than others. Again, you might say being fluent in English gives you a competitive advantage in today's global world. Do you agree with that? Let's listen to some real-world examples.
It's going to be a competitive advantage for us. And one of the things we decided was, how can we reinvent the office?
Leverage your sources of unfair competitive advantage, but make sure you reinvent yourself before disruption leaves you with no other option but to do so.
What really is a company's most competitive advantage? It's people,
We know this.
Amazing job learning these co-locations. Share your score in the comments. And make sure you like this lesson, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. I have another lesson where you'll learn 15 more words, so make sure you watch it right now.